Ahoy!
Welcome to episode 7?
7.
7. Is it 7, really?
Yep.
Blimey. Episode 7 of season 2 of Bottom of the Stream. I'm Adam,
I'm Nick.
and we are the hosts of this podcast boat.
Still looking for good and bad along the stream in Netflix.
What we do. That's what we do. We look at the bottom of the stream so you don't have to. How have you been this week?
Good. Do you know what?
What?
Do you remember last week?
Yeah.
When I mentioned that documentary about like vegan power?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I've just took delivery today, just
God.
before I came over here.
Some vegetables.
No, of exactly the opposite. £55 worth, as in money, not weight, of cow meat.
I love cow meat. It's the second favourite kind of meat.
Like mince, steaks,
Good times off the
burgers.
internet meat.
No, off from. So our friend has got like a little small farm,
Oh, nice.
and every now and again they
Send you a cow.
get rid of a cow.
Or pieces of a cow.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
I'll be around, all around yours for some beef then.
We could have a winter barbecue.
Sounds good to me. I love a good barbecue.
So
So you're
Yeah.
just going to ditch off that vegan documentary?
well, I was never going to go vegan. I just thought it was funny after mentioning it last week.
Don't go vegan.
We've gone full on the other way.
You definitely have. Been watching anything good at the top of the stream this week?
I have watched the new series, mini series really. There's only 4 episodes. Queer Eye in Japan.
Queer Eye in Japan?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, it's the same program as normal. They're
But with
just
Japanese
in Japan. Yeah,
I've only ever seen one episode. I think I watched that at your house.
it's really good. Very, very emotional. This was.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, really. The first episode, they go and help out a lady who sleeps on the floor of her own dining room under the table because she has turned her house into a community centre / end of life care.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, we're going deep.
We're going
to
deep
start.
early.
Yeah, so she does all this care for people in the community and nothing for herself.
Wow.
It's totes emotion.
That sounds it. I
Good,
might-
good. It's a good show. Positive message.
I might avoid that. To go completely opposite end of the spectrum, I watched a film called Rattlesnake.
Okay, yeah.
Watched it last night because you let me down because we were supposed to be recording
Yeah.
last night. So I thought, well, I'll just watch a film to talk about instead then. Rattlesnake was another one of these 5 films that Netflix released in October.
Yes.
Horror films. So I've done 4 of them now. I've just got Eli left to watch, which was
Okay,
the
yeah.
one I really wanted to watch in the first place. This one was garbage.
Really?
Pure, unadulterated garbage. It was awful.
No redeeming feature whatsoever?
Boring as fuck.
Oh, well, that's even worse than being bad.
Oh, it was so boring. Literally nothing happens. So the premise of it is that a woman and her daughter are on a road trip and they get a puncture in the middle of the desert in the middle of nowhere. The daughter gets out of the car and gets bitten by a rattlesnake.
Okay.
And the mum was obviously panicking, and then she turns around and she sees a caravan, like what they cook meth in Breaking Bad.
Right.
And
Like an RV.
yeah, a little bit. Like one of these silver bullet
Oh,
caravan
okay,
things you
okay.
see.
Like a jet stream type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a lady in it, and she cures the rattlesnake bite. Not sting. Snakes don't sting. So she takes the kid to the hospital, and when she's at the hospital, she gets visited by this bloke who says, "You've now got to take another person's life in payment for your daughter's."
I'm a bit turned off already, to be honest.
So boring. And then the rest of the film is her turmoil of whether she should do it or not. She's given a time limit, obviously.
Right.
And does she do it or not is the whole film.
Okay.
Oh, it's garbage.
Okay.
So bad.
I'm staying away from that.
It would be at the bottom of the stream had we reviewed it on our table. And I think in a year's time it'd probably be right down there. But it's never going on our table now. I've seen it. I've also watched The End of the Fucking World Season 2.
All right, okay, yeah.
Which isn't on Netflix over here yet. It is on Netflix in America.
Yes.
It is on all 4 in the UK because it's like a joint production between the 2 of them. It's all right. It's not as good as the first series, but no, it was never going to be. Have you seen the first series?
Yeah, seen the first one. I did really enjoy it.
It is good. It's worth watching. It finishes the story, and I can't see them doing any more.
So that
Finishes
kind
the
of
story nicely.
that kind of leads on to a bit of news I had.
Go for
Which
it.
isn't really Netflix news.
Netflix.
Netflix news.
Yeah.
It's streaming news.
Oh, streaming news.
So
You're
it's
going
been.
to talk about BritBox.
Well, I was going to mention it, but not
Go on
just that. So because this week in the UK,
Yeah.
Apple TV's launched.
Yes.
That was what 4 or 5 days ago,
Yeah, I think so.
and then today BritBox has launched.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean. Please don't tell me we've got to do a podcast about each of them as well.
I'm not getting BritBox.
No.
I'm really against BritBox.
But a lot of that stuff's on Netflix already.
A lot of it's on
And other
Netflix or free on BBC iPlayer
streaming
or the
services.
ITV Hub or all 4, 5 on demand. It's
And
all already on there. But now they're going to take it off and charge you for it.
It's just
It's really wrong.
getting really messy, isn't it?
I really don't like it.
And then you've got
You pay license fee, and then you've got to pay again to watch the things that you've already paid for in the first place.
It's messed up.
It's messed up.
It's about the first thing that like the BBC, ITV, Channel 4 or Channel 5 have all worked together on.
Yeah, it is.
They just want a chunk of the Netflix, Apple and Disney part.
But they're 10 years too late.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I will not be getting BritBox.
No.
Put it out there now.
And then
I don't really watch a lot of British TV anyway.
And then Monday, so the 12th, not over here, but the Disney streaming service starts.
That's big news.
In the States.
That is big news.
And then we'll get it at some point.
Some point next year.
Early next year, I think.
I might look into partaking in that. There's a lot of good stuff going on there.
Yeah. I'm sure it's just a matter of time in my house having
definitely
smaller children.
Small children and Disney obsessed wife.
Yeah.
Well, you've got no choice. You're getting that. Maybe I'll just steal your login every so often.
That's fine. I mean, no, can't condone that whatsoever.
No, definitely not. That's all I've watched this week because I've been decorating, so I'm absolutely exhausted.
It does smell new
painty
in here.
It smells painty.
Yeah.
Giving
the boat a new
bit of a spruce up
coat of paint. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
dry dock.
It's been hard work. It was supposed to take me 2 days, and it's now Thursday. And I've still not finished. I've still got more to do tomorrow. But it's all good fun, isn't it? You take a week off work and end up doing more work than you would have done if you were there.
Yeah, standard.
Absolutely. Anything else? We've got any?
I've got a bit of admin. Sort of tying up from last week's episode.
Okay.
And I thought this was really cool.
Oh, all right.
So we talked last week about Hush.
Yes.
Directed by Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
Who was very topical because, as we said,
I need to talk about Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, it was hours away from Dr. Sleep coming out, which he directed. You can tell us a bit about that in a minute.
Will do.
So I was reading reading a couple of bits this week, and I saw sort of an interview with him from a few months ago, and he was sort of talking about, I've got Dr. Sleep coming out, and then he's working on, as we mentioned last week, the second series of The Haunting of Hill House.
Yep.
Which is called The Haunting of Blythe Manor.
Yes.
So that comes out early next year. But he's got another Netflix series which has been commissioned.
A busy man.
Which is also coming out next year.
Okay, cool.
And the reason I found this so cool is because it's called Midnight Mass.
Oh, right. That was the book in Hush.
It was.
Because that was the trivia question I gave you last week. What was the name of the book?
Yeah. So the lead character, Maddie, in Hush,
yeah,
was an author, and she had written and published a book called Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
And that is the series that is coming out onto Netflix next
Interesting.
year. And
so
it's a horror
series.
Mini-series, yeah.
There was nothing in Hush that told you what Midnight Mash that's about eating mashed potato in the evening. There was nothing in there that told you what that book was about, but
no. So this series is about a series of strange paranormal and occult goings on a small deserted island, or not deserted,
is it lost?
Sparsely populated island.
Right. Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, I just thought it was a really cool.
I love how these coincidences happen all the time in this podcast. It's really weird.
So yeah, Mike Flanagan is a busy man. So
he is a busy man. And
how was Dr. Sleep?
Just directed the greatest film of this year.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Okay.
Earlier this year, I would have said Brightburn was the film of the year for me, because that is a really good film. Then The Joker was up there as well, but Dr. Sleep kicked them both out of the water.
Oh,
I
right,
thought it was really, really good. I was so excited to see it, and it did not let me down. If you're a big fan of The Shining, you're going to absolutely love it as well.
Did it work well as a sequel to The Shining?
So many callbacks. And
was it as weird and disturbing?
It was more of a modern day kind of horror.
Okay.
It wasn't as like The Shining's all like in your head and stuff. It wasn't like that. It was very by the numbers horror story, but it was quite scary, and it was acres better than the book. Because as I've said many times now, I'm not really a big fan of the book, but yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
It was really good. Best film I've seen Ewan McGregor in ever, I think.
What? Phantom Menace? Come on.
Well, we don't really count the Star Wars films, do you? They're on their own plane of existence. Anything else? I think that's all the admin done. I should probably just run through the socials.
I think that is all I have to report. Yeah, I think that's all I have to report back this week.
Okay.
So go for it.
I'll run through the socials. If you want to follow us on Twitter, please do. It is at BOTS_podcast. Instagram is the same, at BOTS_podcast. Facebook.com/bottom of the stream. The website is www.bottomofthestream.com, where you will find all of our episodes that we've ever done, and the stream table for season 1 and the current stream table for season 2. And that's it. I'm going to put in a promo for a different podcast here, because the Pod Nation have started making their own promos. So we've been a part of this group called the Pod Nation now for a little while, and we've made a promo that some other people have put on their shows, so we're going to put one in our show.
Yeah, we popped up on a couple of different ones, haven't we?
Yeah,
over the last couple of weeks.
I'm going to put in a promo here.
Are you looking for some great indie podcasts to listen to? Check out the Pod Nation list on podchaser.com, where you can find a list of great indie podcasts, get links to their official websites, and even listen to some of their episodes without needing to create an account or log in. Here's an example of one of the great indie podcasts you can find on Pod Nation.
What's up, guys? You like movies? You like cleverly named cocktails? Then why don't you listen to Pop Pour,
Review!
a podcast where we review movies, all while drinking some cocktails. Join us every Monday as we discuss new movies, old movies, and everything in between. New episodes Mondays at 7 Eastern. Come have a drink with us.
So once again, for some great indie podcasts, check out the Pod Nation list on podchaser.com.
Yeah, done. With that, are we going to talk about this film?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you sitting comfortably?
Very.
Good.
A lot more than I was during the film.
Okay.
Okay, so what did we watch this week?
So this week we watched a movie called Buster's Malheart, and it's from 2016.
Yeah, from 2016. It's currently rated at 6.1 on IMDb. It's a 15, and it's on for an hour and 36 minutes. Stars Rami Malek as Buster/Jonah, who you will know from his Oscar-winning performance in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, and he is Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot. He is Mr. Robot as well, yeah. He's also in Night at the Museum, and he was one of the main characters in I think it's PS4 exclusive game called Until Dawn.
All right, okay.
So yeah, he's quite famous. He's won an Oscar. So it's a second Oscar winner?
Yep.
Yeah, Nick Cage and now Rami Malek.
Yeah. So quite the duo.
So this one,
Oscar winners.
This
on,
was made
on the
before
podcast.
before he was casting Mr. Robot. So this is early days for him. Also stars DJ Qualls, who plays the last free man, is what he's credited as, and he has been in everything.
Oh my word! So much stuff.
I've made a list.
Have you?
Yes. So he was in.
You could have made a game out of this.
I could have. Why didn't I?
Well, too late.
Okay. He was probably most famous for being in Road Trip back in the early 2000s.
Yep, that's definitely where he came to fame.
That's definitely where he came to fame. But he's also been in a lot of TV shows.
He's popped up as guest star in a lot of stuff.
A lot of TV. So I've got a list of TV shows that he's guest starred in. He's never been a main star, but he's in. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
Scrubs, Lost, Monk, CSI, My Name is Earl, The Big Bang Theory, Breaking Bad, Hawaii Five-0, American Dad, Family Guy, Fargo, Z Nation, The Man in the High Castle, and Supernatural.
Good list.
There's a lot of crackingly good TV shows on there. Two of the greatest TV shows of all time are on there.
And Lost. I was just saying that to wind you up.
You love Lost as much as I do. Yeah, he's in and around everything. He's very. If you don't know who he is, he's very distinctive. As soon as you see his face, you'll know. He's got a very odd nose and ears.
Yes. Maybe we can tweet a picture of him. I'm sure you all know who he is.
We'll definitely do that. Written and directed by a lady called Sarah Adina Smith, who has not really done anything of note.
No, I believe she'd done another film a couple of years before this, which I have not written down. But I think this was her second feature.
I think it was, yeah. Is she our first female director?
I couldn't tell you that without going back and having a look.
Can't think of it. I was thinking about it. I can't think of another one that we've done a female director from, but I'm not sure. If there's any big fans, let us know.
I wouldn't know without going back and checking.
I wouldn't either. And I didn't go back and check, and I probably should have done. I can hear an owl. Can you hear an owl?
Is it an owl or is it a...
It's an owl. There's the bloke next door but one has got an owl box at the bottom of his garden.
Ah.
And this used to be my bedroom when I first moved into this house. And you can just hear it all night. It's really weird. But I've got earphones on and I can still hear it.
Yeah, I can as well.
So it must be quite loud. There you go. Bit of nature in the pod. If it's picked up on the microphone, that's an owl.
Get Bill Oddie round. That's not going to mean anything to anyone who's not from the UK.
Or anybody who's under 30 in the UK. Right, are we going to talk about this film?
Yes.
Because I don't think I've ever seen anything as crazy as this film.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how we're going to tackle this.
No, nor me. It's...
So apologies in advance if we jump around a bit, but that's this film.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to give me a one-word review?
I thought we'd stop doing one.
We have stopped doing it, but
I'm not prepared.
I thought I'd jump on you with it, trick you with it.
Rocky.
Yeah. Stallone's not in it.
No, as in it veers around.
Oh, it really does.
I was thinking of the boat. I've got boats on my mind.
This is going to be a really hard one to talk about. There's a lot of weird shit going on in this film.
Yeah, you've kind of got like multiple timelines.
I think there's
Maybe.
3 different timelines, possibly, that maybe are not all are different at the end. This film's batshit crazy.
There's a couple of ways you could read this, because I think there's a very good... I don't want to maybe start with this. There's a very good argument to say these are not 3 different timelines at all, but we'll get into that. That owl is so loud.
It is really loud. That's
I've
really
never
strange.
heard that before. The window's not open, is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's coming through double glazing and earphones. I hope the microphones can pick it up, as we just sound like crazy people ranting about an owl. So where does the film start?
At sea.
Yes, it does. It starts with 2 men sitting on a boat during a
and
credit
you just see
sequence.
their silhouettes.
Yeah, you can't see who they are. They're just on there. The credits are coming up at either side.
It's a
of
little
them.
like rowboat.
Yeah. It's like the sort of boat you get lost in sea at.
Yeah.
Lost at sea in. And the credits are rolling behind it, and then one of the men in the boat just kind of glitches out.
Yeah.
Just disappears. And so it begins.
Yes.
And then the name of the film comes up on the screen, Buster's Malhart, and it instantly cuts back in with a guy running through a wooded area.
Yeah, well, basically through the forest, isn't he?
Yeah.
Sort of snowy ground. Middle of winter.
Yeah.
Being chased by a load of cops.
Getting shot at by a load of cops and shooting back at the load of cops. So we don't know what the hell's going on already. And he kind of gets away in the end. He finds himself into a cave. Gets himself into a cave.
Makes a little fire.
Yeah. And
cozy.
spends the night there.
Yeah.
And wakes up the next morning and the cops have got him surrounded.
Yep.
And then he kind of stands up in the entrance to the cave and the screen fades to black. And it says 10 days earlier, which I don't really like in a film, as we know.
No.
But I don't know if I've seen one for earlier so far, and I didn't mind it so much. But also, nothing, how we know it was 10 days earlier, it could have been 10 months earlier for all we know. It was all sorts of craziness was going on.
And we see the same character.
Yes.
So, and this is Rami Malek's character.
Yeah.
Buster.
But
he's looking very different.
Yeah, he's looking a bit dishevelled.
Because he now looks like Robin Williams in Jumanji.
Yes, he does. That's a great shout. He really does.
Just after he comes out of the jungle.
Yeah, so he's got like long, scraggly hair and a beard,
matted hair, and still got nice eyes though.
He's got lovely eyes, lovely jawline.
And we've got our first bit. I think this might be the first time we've seen this series, this season, because we saw this device a hell of a lot in season 1.
I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
So we're back to the old news report on TV as a piece of exposition.
Yeah, we did see it a lot of times in series 1.
And it quickly gets us up to speed that it's sort of local news, isn't it?
Yeah.
That there's this vagrant running around the woods and sort of breaking into unoccupied holiday homes
in the winter.
And
living in them.
Living in them, basically.
Basically, yeah, he breaks into them in the winter and lives in them during the winter and then lives in the forest during the summer. I think that's how they kind of described it, and they were warning the public. They were warning the public about him and telling them to stay away. And they don't. That he's never done. It said in the news report he's never done a crime, but he's potentially armed and dangerous.
Yeah, because he is walking around with a rifle.
Yeah. And then so the cops are searching for him as well. And then he's in this house and he turns all the pictures upside down.
Yes.
Like literally, because obviously a big holiday home's got a lot of pictures hanging on the walls of the family that own it, and he turns them all upside down before he goes to bed.
Yes. So recurring motif.
Yeah, it's a strange one.
Movie.
And then it cuts to the same guy working in a hotel, but he's not as dishevelled.
No.
He's much more manicured and
clean shaven.
His hair's
very
all nice.
tired because he's working nights.
He works nights in a hotel as like a night porter, or concierge he describes himself as, doesn't he? Been there.
And they are essentially the 3 timelines that we will.
So we've been introduced to the same character all 3 times, but in different.
In a boat, as a mountain man, and as a
hotelier
porter. Yeah.
So
So
we
get a bit of a montage, don't we? He's working nights at the hotel, doing sort of menial tasks.
Yeah.
Goes home, and it turns out he's got a wife and daughter at home.
Yes, he has. And then all of a sudden he's on a boat again.
Yeah.
So this film does. I can't stress enough how much it flicks around all over the place. You never know. You always kind of know who you're with because he looks different in all 3 timelines. I'm going to call them timelines because that's all we can call them at the minute. We'll get through to the end. We'll talk about the end what we think's actually gone on. Yeah, so he's on a boat and he starts to drink his own urine and he writes a message and puts it in the bottle.
Yeah, the old-fashioned message in a bottle.
Message in a bottle and chucks it into the ocean. And then he's back in the hotel again. So that was just like a quick scene of him.
There's lots of those little ones where,
especially on the boat.
Yeah, when it flashes back to him in the boat, and we probably won't know every single one, so don't pick us up on it because there is a lot of intercutting and jumping around.
Yeah,
and a lot of times where it goes back to him just in the boat, it's just for a few seconds.
Yeah, it's just
because he's still in a boat.
It's just
in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah,
drifting around. So we get a bit more context about the hotel timeline, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah.
So he isn't called Buster in this timeline.
No.
He's called Jonah.
Yes.
And
I think that's how we'll differentiate between them. So when we're talking about them in the hotel, we'll call him Jonah.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about him as a mountain man, we'll call him Buster.
Deal.
And when he's in the boat, we'll just call him Boatman.
Boaty.
Boaty, but Boatman.
So Jonah is at church.
Yep.
With his wife,
Yes.
who is an ex-drug addict,
Yeah.
which basically is what comes out. And she's sort of doing a reading at church, thanking everyone for their support
Yeah,
and
she's
being
got
welcomed back into the community and all that.
And then he's back at the hotel. And is this where DJ Qualls turns up?
Not quite. So
Okay,
we
you
go.
then, because that's where it is. On
No,
my
it's fine.
notes. My
We just
notes.
go back to no, it does. That's the next major thing. There's just a couple of bits where Buster, Mountain Man, is in the bath
Oh yeah.
in one of the houses.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything. He's just literally singing in a bath.
Yeah. That's probably why I didn't write it
Yeah.
down. Yeah, and then we're back in the hotel, and DJ Qualls' character turns up, who we don't have a name for. We're never given a name for. Wikipedia has him down as Brown.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I noted that.
IMDb has him down as the last free man. So we're just going to call him the last. I don't know. I'm just going to name him probably DJ Qualls.
That's fine.
He shows up. He asks if Jonah's got a room at the hotel that he can check into.
Yeah, so we're talking early hours of the morning,
Yeah, it's
middle
like
of the
1
night,
a.m.,
aren't
I
we?
think. There's a big clock in the hotel that they focus on quite a lot. But he hasn't got any ID or any credit cards or anything, though. So Jonah doesn't let him check in.
Yeah.
But eventually they have a bit of a chat, and he starts talking to him about the Y2K bug.
Yes.
So we've that gives us a bit of a idea of when this film's set.
Yeah, and it's really the only thing that gives that away, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because you wouldn't be able to tell from the fashion or the...
No, not at all.
They do have a couple of big TVs, don't they? Old-fashioned
Yeah,
TVs. But
and the
that's about
computer
it.
in the hotel is quite old. But
I stay at hotels quite often that has that sort of
Still
stuff
has
still
the
in
same
it now.
computer.
So
yeah, it's obviously set in the 90s, you've got to say,
Yeah.
towards the late 90s because of this. Because Quaz is talking a lot about the Y2K bug and how it's going to destroy the world, which is something we all believed at the time. We all believed we were going to die when the year 2000 struck, but we didn't.
yeah, so he's
We're
sort
still
of
here.
he's sort of ranting about the mass panic that's going to hit, and
Yeah.
he calls himself a prophet.
Yeah,
A prophet, and he's talking about this event that's going to happen.
yeah, the inversion,
The inversion.
which is going to coincide with the turn of the millennium. And he talks about when the last inversion was, and it was like, I can't remember when it was, but there was a time when the whole world turned on its head and civilization was like destroyed and rebuilt. And that's the kind of thing he's talking about, isn't he? The breakdown of society and the breakdown of the system.
Yeah, and he says he's basically what does he call himself? A kind of like a fixer, doesn't he? So he's going to
Yeah.
solve glitches in the system. So that's
Yeah.
what he's travelling about doing. It's a lot of
Yeah.
mumbo jumbo that doesn't really mean anything at this point.
No, it's a lot of early information that you get in with
And-
no context.
All the way through, we've seen a couple of films like this since we started this show. But this is another one where it's just throwing so much at you. It's trying to discombobulate you
Yeah.
and
Successfully.
give you that same... I suppose it's trying to convey that same sort of confusion that Buster/Jonah is trying to play as well,
Yeah.
isn't it? He doesn't really know what's going on.
We don't know.
They
what's
don't
going
want
on.
us to know what's going on.
Yeah, that's a good point. After that point, it cuts back to Buster in this house that he's living in, and he's on the radio. He's called into a radio show.
Yeah.
And he's kind of ranting at the host about the inversion is coming, and they're basically taking the piss out of him, aren't they? They're just laughing.
Yeah.
Because he's got this habit of ringing into radio shows, and
It's clearly not the first time he's done it.
no, it's not the first time he's done it, and he's ranting about the inversions coming and that sort of thing. And yeah, that's kind of all that happens in that scene.
Yeah.
Again, it's just another bit of a character arc for Buster. It's a weird one. And then he takes a crap in a saucepan and leaves the house.
Yeah.
So that's how that happens. He just basically puts it on the counter and empties himself and leaves. Does he? I think he gets a hint that somebody's coming, or
There's a phone call.
yes, there
To
was
the house
to the
that he's
house.
staying in, and it's one of the neighbours just saying, "Oh, I've noticed your lights are on. I might come round and let's have a beer or something like
Yeah.
that. I'll pop up."
So that means
Pop
he's
up
got to
see
leave
you.
and find a different house to
Yeah.
go to.
We then cut back to Jonah in the hotel,
Yeah.
and he is having a chat with his manager, his boss,
Yeah.
and his boss is sort of breaking the news to him that he's got to stay on nights, despite him having been promised a move to the day shift.
Yeah.
By the looks of things.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
And he goes back home and he's very, very angry.
Yeah.
And him and his wife, Marty, are actually living with her parents, I think they are.
Yeah.
With the in-laws.
Yeah, I think they're her parents. It doesn't tell you who they are, but
Yeah.
you've got to assume they're her parents.
And they have a proper argument.
Yeah.
Because Marty, Jonah's wife, sort of says, we've saved up enough money, let's move out, we get our own place, we don't have to live with these people.
Yeah.
And this is the first time you get a real sort of bit of character from Jonah.
Yeah.
And he says, no, we're saving up, I just want to buy our own bit of land.
We're going to go off grid.
We're going to go off grid.
Basically build
And
our
she
own
says,
house.
You don't even know how to build a house.
Yeah.
How are we going to do that?
It's kind of his dream, isn't it? He's always
Yeah.
wanted to go off grid and not have to rely on the system. He talks about not even having to, probably won't even need jobs. He can fish the lake and work the land. That's his dream. That's what he wants to do. But until then, he's got to keep this job at this monotonous, boring hotel that he works in.
Yeah.
And he gives you a bit of a feel for what sort of hotel it is at this point as well, doesn't it? Because he talks about it's mainly rich people that stay there.
Yeah.
Because it's they get to the airport that's nearby to go away to their holiday homes, and if the flights get cancelled or delayed or anything, that's the hotel they get put in.
Yes.
So it's all
because they're in the mountains. The weather can close in very quickly, and this is basically the only place around.
Yeah. So it's anybody who's chartered a plane or got their own
In or out.
plane.
Yeah.
And they're not allowed to leave. They'll stay at this hotel until they're allowed to leave in the morning. So it's basically people who stay in, quite rich people who are just staying for one night at a time. Usually check in late on, and that becomes important because it turns out he's stealing from them.
Yeah. So very quickly, and this did seem to come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Brown, DJ Qualls, and Buster come up with a scam.
Yes.
So what essentially happens?
Jonah.
It's Jonah. Sorry,
Buster's the mountain
I broke our own rules already. I'm sorry, this is so confusing. So Jonah and DJ Qualls come up with a plan, and what they do is Jonah will check DJ Qualls into an adjoining room of the rich people, and when they go down to the restaurant, he'll go
Jonah
in.
will know that they're in the restaurant, so Qualls can go into the room and steal.
Pilfer.
But he tells them to just take a few bits that they're not going to notice, dig to the bottom of the jewellery boxes and take a couple of pieces that they're not going to, or they're going to think they've not packed when they get on holiday. Yeah. That sort of thing.
And we get another bit of a montage, and so it seems like they're doing this for quite a while. Yeah,
it goes on for... there's a bit of a montage of it happening, isn't there? A few times. He's taking money, he's taking jewellery, he's taking that sort of thing. And then we cut back to Buster's timeline, because the police are in the house that he was in, and they found the offending saucepan. Yeah. And the policewoman just smells it and decides that it's 2 days old. Yeah. So they're 2 days behind him.
Yeah. She knows straight away that's 48 hours old.
48 hours scat, she calls it. Yeah, so they decide they're 2 hours behind.
2 days.
Sorry, 2 days behind.
That's fine.
I'm trying to read and remember and talk at the same time. I'm not good at multitasking. And this is where he's now talking to a sex worker on a sex line.
Yeah, so
on
back,
the phone.
So we're back we're still with Buster.
Buster's time.
So he's still a grizzled mountain man, but he's walking through some kind of storage unit, or it almost looks like it could be the back room of a hotel.
Yeah,
because he's going through like laundry and stuff, isn't he? And racks of
he's got
stuff.
Something's going on.
But he's on the phone.
Yeah,
and he's just listening to a sex phone line.
Sex phone line lady. Sex lady.
But he's not really listening to her.
No, she's just talking. It's almost like he wants to hear background noise. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like she's talking at him, but he's not really paying attention to what she's saying. And she's talking about what sex line people talk about. And...
At this point, I thought, because I'm still trying to piece this together, I'm like, I wonder if that's his wife. And obviously something's happened.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. and like maybe that's the only way you can keep it.
At this point, that's
But your mind's spinning a bit at this point.
Completely. I don't know what was going on. And he starts ranting at her about the inversion coming, doesn't he? And how she needs to get out and get herself sorted and prepare for the end of days. That's right. Or the end of civilized society. And then we're back with Jonah. So it's cut again. So we're back to the hotel timeline. And Jonah's trying to pull the plug on the operation with Qualls. Yeah. Because he nearly gets caught, doesn't he? Yeah. Because his manager calls him in.
Yeah, so the manager calls Jonah in and says, is there something you want to tell me? Yeah. And he's found a jar of caffeine tablets.
Yes.
in Jonah's locker.
Yeah.
But obviously Jonah's thinking, oh crap, he's on to me
Don't
about
talk to me
the
robberies.
The robberies.
But he's not. But it's too close to call, so he tells Quiles it's done.
Yeah.
I'm out. We're finished. It's so much so that he drives Quiles to the bus station.
Yeah.
He wants to get him out of town. And they have a bit of a row on the way, don't they? But eventually he drops him off. And that's the end of him for the time being.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Jonah's manager is saying, look, you're obviously really tired. I'm sorry about the whole can't move you to the day shift sort of thing.
Yeah.
So pick a weekend, bring your wife, bring your child, and you can have a staycation.
Yeah, they can stay here. You've still got to work,
Yeah.
but they can stay in the hotel.
At the hotel for free.
Yeah.
My favourite line in this film was the manager, because he's a right fucking
Dweeb.
wet lettuce, isn't he?
Yeah.
When he says, by the way, I coined that phrase, staycation.
So his family come to stay.
Yeah.
So they can see him more. And while they're there, nothing really of note happens while they're there, but DJ Quiles' character turns back up.
He does.
And he's been beaten up.
Yes. So this is he turns back up again in the early hours of the morning while Jonah's outside having a cigarette.
Yeah.
And again, he wants a room for the night.
Yeah. And so Jonah gives him a room for the night, but he doesn't trust him. So he says, you can stay in the room next door to mine.
Yeah.
The adjoining room to ours. So you don't get up to any funny business. And I can keep my eye on you from there. So he checks him into the room next door to his own family. And then he goes back to his own desk.
Yeah.
Where he's working. And he's got a little photo of his family out on his desk. And that's been turned upside down.
It has.
So something weird's going on. But then, as he's kind of walking towards the room where his family is staying, all the hotel room numbers are turned upside down as well.
Correct.
So something weird's going on.
He gets back into it. So he gets back to the hotel room that they're staying in.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
walks into the room, and the first thing he does is he notices the bathroom light is on, and the bathtub is full of water.
Yeah.
So he pulls the plug out.
Yep.
He walks out of the bathroom.
Yep.
Goes over to the bed, and his wife and daughter are on the bed.
Yeah.
And they are dead.
They are dead. There's a lot of blood on the bed.
Yes.
It's not pretty.
And the interlocking door between his room and the next room is open.
Wag with your hand around.
I'm doing a waving.
As if I didn't know what open meant.
Well, it's not fully open, is it?
No,
That's what it is.
It's a jar.
Yes. No, it's a door. But it's slightly open.
Yeah, and Quiles' character is not there. He has vanished. It doesn't look like he's ever been there. The bed's completely not been slept in, or there's no stuff in the room. And so we leave him at that point. That's where we leave that character for now. And we go back to Buster. Oh no, we go back to Boatman. Yeah.
Can I tell you how... So, can I read my notes of this bit?
Yes.
Back in the boat?
Please do.
Because this is how much sense this was making to me at this point.
Go on.
I've just put a few words. Boat, Spanish, sleep, rainbow, frogs.
Yeah, that explains that scene perfectly. Now, I've got a question for you. When he's speaking, because he speaks Spanish a few times in this film,
Yes.
is it ever subtitled?
I was going to ask you this.
Because I don't know if I've got my Netflix setting wrong.
Then I might as well, because I didn't have any subtitles.
I didn't either.
But
I've
I watch
seen
stuff
clips
all the time with subtitles in.
Yeah, I do. And I've seen clips on YouTube of this film with subtitles on. So either Netflix have decided they don't want them on, or we've somehow got settings wrong that have not shown us what the
Maybe
subtitles...
it's a...
Because towards the end, there's one whole scene that's in Spanish.
Maybe it's a directorial choice.
I don't know.
Me neither.
I've seen clips with the subtitles on.
Right, okay.
So subtitles exist. But I don't know what they were talking about in the Spanish bits.
Fine.
Neither of us do. So that's good. Yeah, and he's kind of just staring at the sky and ranting in Spanish, and then there's some frogs.
Basically, a load of frogs jump in the boat and he eats them.
Yeah. Your phone went off and mine lit up at the same time.
That's weird.
That is weird. Yeah, so I was it's starting to lose me a little bit at this point. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm lost. I've
no idea what's going on.
We get flashbacks back to the hotel, and basically, Jonah has been interviewed by the police.
Yeah, he's talking to him about. He's telling him about.
And
DJ
he
Qualls'
quite
character.
rightly says to the guy, says to Jonah, "So you're telling me you let a homeless man stay in the next room to your wife and child?"
Yeah. Yes, I did.
And he says, "Well, have you got the guy's name?" No, never knew his name.
Yeah.
Never took any ID for him when he took the rooms out.
He never paid.
He never paid. And that's pretty much where we leave that.
Yeah.
We go then back to Buster. He's in a new house.
I really like this bit.
It was probably the
there's the weirdest scene in the film.
Yeah.
But it's probably the best bit of the film.
Yeah, probably maybe the creepiest bit. So
Definitely.
So Hobo Buster is in a new big empty house.
Yep.
Or so he thinks. Just as he's settling in, the couple return. They're an old couple.
Elderly couple.
Clearly, the guy has got a bit of dementia.
Dimensions.
Bit of dementia.
Yeah.
Because
He thinks it's Santa.
he thinks it's Santa. And basically, Buster takes them hostage.
Yeah, they're both clearly terrified. The woman's a bit more corpus mentis than the man is, but
Yeah.
he ties them up at the dinner table with fairy lights because it's Christmas.
Yes. And he's got Buster's got a Christmas jumper on.
Yeah, he ties them up with fairy lights, cooks them a Christmas dinner as well, doesn't he?
He does.
He cooks them dinner and feeds it to them whilst they're tied to
It's
these
like a proper
chairs.
banquet.
Yeah, there was lots of food.
They've got like
The old man was loving it. He didn't know
Yeah,
what
he
was
was,
going on,
yeah.
and he was loving his dinner. And then the old man is just waffling along. He's just chatting away to himself, isn't he? And he's
sort of telling stories
telling
of when
stories
he was a kid.
but all the while Buster's just feeding them food.
Yeah.
And then he locks them in the basement,
Yeah, puts them in a cupboard.
puts them in a cupboard, still tied up.
Yeah.
Well, he ties their hands up, doesn't he?
Yeah, gives them some pillows, blankets. and
Yeah,
stuff.
and then he keeps bringing them pillows and cushions and sofa cushions and that sort of thing, just to try and make them happy. It's all really weird. I keep saying weird, and I don't know how else to describe this film.
No.
It's weird. And then we're back with Jonah, and he's talking to the cops again.
But it's at the funeral. Are we at this is
Yes,
the funeral?
we're at the funeral.
Well, of his wife and child.
Yes.
And the cop. So this is basically the twist, I guess, isn't
Yeah.
it? So spoilers. But
We didn't see it coming a
that
mile off.
anyway. But yeah, it was not a surprise.
No, it wasn't.
The cop basically tells Jonah
Yeah.
that they can find no evidence of anyone
Of DJ Quasi's character even existing.
ever being in the hotel. They've checked all the CCTV.
We actually get to see some CCTV footage that of scenes we've already seen.
Yeah.
And Qualls is not in any of them.
Yeah.
So there's a scene in a squash court, isn't there, where they're just throwing a ball to each other.
Against the wall, yeah.
And it's just Jonah throwing a ball at a wall on his own. So to nobody's surprise, that character doesn't exist. Just after he's told that, we are at the funeral, you're right, because he gets invited up onto the lectern to do his eulogy. And he kind of looks over the crowd, and all he says is, "I don't believe it." And then he walks away.
Yeah. We're nearly there. Right. So it cuts them back
We're nearly there, but it gets a lot more weird.
cuts back to Buster back in his house. He is just in his pants because he's given his trousers to the old man.
Yeah.
And he is on the ski machine.
Yes.
On the stepper. And he's watching TV.
Yep.
And again, a
The
news bulletin.
footage. Yeah.
And another local news bulletin. And it turns out 2 kids have found
A message in a bottle.
a message in a bottle.
And they read it out, and then his mother appears on the TV.
Well, they sort of say, yeah.
They've tracked him down.
The message says, my name is Jonas, something Spanish, and I've been lost at sea for 1,000 days.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
That's 3 years.
It sure is.
And it's a long time to just eat frogs.
And he says something like, the weather has been calm every day.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting. What's to that effect?
And his mother appears on the TV because they track her down.
And they show his driving license.
And they show his driving license.
It's clearly...
With a picture of Jonah on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine. That you kind of think, oh, that makes sense then. So he was lost at sea.
Mm-hmm.
He then became Buster.
Yeah.
After Jonah. So it was like Jonah, then Boatman, then Buster.
I will take issue with that.
Because it isn't right.
Yeah.
But that becomes evident in a little while. But then, to confuse matters even more, Buster has a shave.
Yeah, cuts all
Cuts
that...
his hair and beard off, so now he looks like Jonah. And this, just after he's done that,
very conveniently.
a policeman knocks on the door.
Yeah.
An elderly policeman.
Very old.
Very
Like
old.
dinosaur old.
Yeah, like 90. Like 90 old.
Yeah. It's not a good retirement plan there, wherever this is
No.
based.
So he knocks on the door and he's like going round all the holiday homes warning them about this guy who's going and breaking into places, and Buster like tells him he's somebody else who he isn't.
He just says, I'm Bob. And,
Yeah.
and the sheriff then assumes, oh, you must be... So whatever the name of the couple is that live there, you must
Yeah.
be their son.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes with it. So, yeah, I'm back for Christmas.
I think they'd mentioned Bob at the dinner.
They must have done,
I think
that makes sense.
the couple had mentioned a Bob at dinner, or the old man had. So the cop's like, okay, fair enough, and leaves.
Yeah.
And then he drives down the road a little bit and gets on his radio to say the house is fine. And the woman on the other end of the radio, dispatch woman, says, Bob's been dead for 2 years.
Yeah.
I think you've been talking to Buster. She actually says that. I think that was Buster.
Yeah.
But do we see that cop again? I think that
No,
might
he
be
never
the end
comes
of it.
back.
He never comes back.
No. He never gets...
He probably died.
Well, at that point, he doesn't get... Yeah. Well, we
was
presume
really
the reinforcements come later or whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then we go back to Buster, who now looks like Jonah, and he's calling a TV psychic.
Yeah, so again, he's ringing into one of these shows, but he's still in this house.
Yeah.
That bit's just happened with the cop.
Yeah. And he says to the psychic, "Where am I?"
Yes.
And she says, "You're on a boat, and you've been there for a long time." And she said that to Buster.
Yeah.
Who isn't on a boat. He's
No.
in a mountain lodge. Then it cuts away again, and we're back to Jonah at the funeral.
Yeah.
And he's driving towards the graveyard, from the church to the graveyard.
Yeah, so they're going. Yeah, they've had the service, and
Now
they're
they're
going
going
to the burial. Yeah.
But he doesn't turn, he just keeps driving.
Yeah. So when the funeral cortege, is that
Procession.
weird? Procession.
Cortege, isn't that a flower?
I don't know.
That's a corsage.
That's a courgette. No, that's a vegetable. When they turn
Procession. They all turn into the graveyard.
They turn into the
Jonah
cemetery, and
Yeah.
Jonah
Keeps on driving.
keeps on going.
And he gets to a fork in the road. And he gets out of his car and he's looking at this fork in the road and looks like he can't decide which way to go. And the camera's kind of back away from him.
Yep.
So you can see him looking at the road from behind with a fork on either side. And then suddenly he splits into two people and walks down both paths.
Yeah, he glitches, doesn't he?
He kind of
And a
glitches out.
copy, it's kind of like a copy,
Yeah.
is produced.
Yes. And he walks down both paths.
Then you get an epilogue.
Yeah.
But it actually says epilogue.
It does.
on
Comes
the
up
screen.
epilogue.
Have you ever seen that before?
Didn't it come up in Handsome? Didn't that say it?
Did that say epilogue?
I think it did say
I think
epilogue.
maybe it did actually.
Pretty sure it did. At the end, it came up epilogue, and then it was down back to him when the neighbours were about to move out.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
I think, yeah. So yeah, I have seen it before, quite recently.
I've just got a shit memory. So the epilogue takes you right back to the start of the film.
Yes, it does.
So we're back to the chase.
Yeah.
Through the woods.
Yeah. Oh, doesn't it go to the boat first?
No, so it goes to the chase very quickly. Then it
Then
goes, back to the boat.
And Buster and Jonah are both sitting on the boat
Opposite each
opposite each other, and they start fighting.
Yep.
And then it cuts back to the policeman.
Yep.
And they're back at the caves where they were at the beginning, and they shoot him, or they shoot at him, and he goes down. But then when they go up to the cave, there's nobody there.
Yes. And it's just very misty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost like a puff of smoke.
It's almost like he's
gone.
completely disappeared. And then right at the very end, we're on a beach, and a naked Jonah wakes up on a beach.
He kind of comes. Yeah, he kind of. Does he wake up or he kind of wanders out of the surf?
Yeah,
and he raises his head, and you can sort of see again a bit misty, a bit blurry, but you can see the legs of a woman
and a child.
and a child.
And then the film ends.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on? Do you have a theory?
So there's a few possible things. I think. Was it all a dream? Was he waking up at the end?
Yeah,
And it had all
possibly.
been a dream? Was this all just about this guy's descent into madness?
Yep.
And that bit where he took the forks in the road was the point at which he actually cracked and went off and lived in the mountains?
Lived in the mountains, and then what did the other one do?
Who knows? Who knows? But
I would have said it was possible that when he hit that fork in the road, one of them went off and became the guy on the boat, and the other one went off and became Buster.
okay,
But then
because they're both free in their own way. Well,
Yeah.
at least for a little while.
you've got the message in the bottle.
Yeah.
So that can't be.
So there is another way of reading it,
Go on.
which is that they're not different timeline. They're just different times.
So it's all.
The same person, and this story is told out of order.
So in which order would it be?
So it's mentioned on the news bulletin that when Jonah put the message in the bottle, and this guy has been missing for 1,000 days.
Yeah.
That it's this person who fell out of a fishing boat.
Yeah.
So that's the first bit.
Yeah.
Is him in the boat.
Okay. So the
So
boat.
this person,
boat Jonah's the
this-
beginning.
So this fisherman, or this person working on this fishing boat, has fallen out of the boat, and he's adrift at sea for 1,000 days.
Yep. Just eating
and-
frogs and drinking wee.
Yeah. And he sends a message in a bottle.
Yeah.
Somehow he washes ashore. Or
So
gets
the very
back to
last
land.
scene is him
Yeah.
with a bit on the beach. Is when he washes ashore.
No.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Okay. I'll
Forget
leave
about
you
that
to
bit. Forget about that bit for now. So, because he's on the boat, he's all bearded and stuff
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's been there for 1,000 days. At some point, he washes ashore, but he's not spoken to anyone for 3 years.
Yeah.
He's got no money. So that's when he becomes the mountain man.
Okay.
does all the mountain man stuff, going through all these houses and shitting in pans and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Gets chased by the cops.
Yeah.
Disappears in a puff of smoke.
Yeah.
And then he does all the hotel stuff.
But then
and
he becomes
that's actually
Jonah at
the
the
last
end.
one. Yeah.
Okay. But then the end is when he goes down the fork in the road.
Yeah.
And he could become anybody from there.
Yeah, who knows?
Wow.
That's another way of looking at it. Because there's a scene in the swimming pool with him and his wife when
There is.
she's saying, "I
When I met you, you were
you were
homeless
this
and bedraggled.
homeless loser, and you fell in love with me really quickly because you were starved of contact, and you fell in love with me because I was the first person to give you."
That makes sense.
You know, so it does work.
Yeah.
It's just bonkers,
It's pure bonkers.
and it turns out he murdered his wife and kid.
Yeah.
What if it's
And making up characters in his head and then kills people.
so it works?
It does work.
if you read it that way. But I'm not
The
sure.
question I'm going to ask is, do you care enough?
No,
No. And that's what...
I wasn't invested at all.
I really like films like this that make you think and you can come up with your own theories about things, but I just didn't care about this one.
I didn't like it.
I didn't.
I was not engaged at all.
No.
And
With you. I added this film to the list quite early on when we started the show because I really, really wanted to watch this film. And I've been waiting for it to come out. It was actually on my own Netflix list.
okay,
And I was really disappointed in it. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be.
I don't even think anyone was that good in it. I wasn't. That
No, I
impressed
agree.
with Rami Malek. I didn't think he.
He plays the same sort of character in everything he does, apart from in Bohemian Rhapsody, where obviously that was written for playing somebody else. But even in Mr. Robot, he plays that sort of same character. And I couldn't.
It left me it left me quite cold, actually.
Yeah,
agreed.
agreed.
It did not hook me.
I didn't care enough. I just
No.
didn't care for the characters. I wasn't interested. Not interested in why he was making up people and killing his own family. Which is a shame because I really like films like this where you can come up with your own theories.
I thought we'd be having an argument at this point because I thought you were going to say you really liked it.
Because this is my sort of film. It is anything where you can get your mind working. I really enjoy.
Yeah.
But
So can I close on something that I found,
yes,
which was, who did you say the director was? What was her name?
Sarah Adina Smith.
So this will make you really angry.
Oh God.
So in the press pack for this film when it was released,
Yeah.
someone asked her what this movie was about, and do you want to know what she said?
Yes.
She says in the press release when this movie came out, "This is a story of a spiritual fission catalyzed by a cry against the gods, a cry so loud that the fabric of space-time caught on fucking fire. It is a meditation on individual responsibility in a mechanistic universe. Whose fault is it that Jonah was born with a malformed heart? Who should stand trial, the insane man or the universe that gave birth to him?"
So she's batshit crazy as well. Is that what we're saying? That doesn't even make any sense.
Well, that's this film all over.
Didn't you
isn't
tell
it?
me something about the casting of the film as well?
Oh yeah. So when they were auditioning for the lead,
This made me angry when you told me.
did it?
Yeah.
So they were auditioning for the lead, and as you said at the start, this was one of the first things Rami Malek did.
Yeah.
So he got this before he was even cast in Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
And she apparently the story I read is that she couldn't quite decide between I don't know how many.
Apparently they wanted a Latino because of the Spanish element.
So basically, she picked him through because it was advised for a tarot reading.
Fuck. Yeah. She does not come across well. She does not come across as my kind of person.
It's art, man.
Nah, fuck that. No, not interested.
I didn't have a fun time watching this.
I didn't either, and I was really disappointed in it, and I wouldn't recommend anybody go and watch it. It plays with your brain too much to the point where it's just insanity and it doesn't make any sense, and you just don't care about it.
Do you know, I don't even know if we've done a good job at talking about this.
Definitely not.
I'm spinning.
It's been like 3 or 4 days since I've seen it, and I still don't know what the hell it was. So I knew we wouldn't be able to talk about this one properly. It's batshit crazy. Like there's no other way to describe it.
It does feel a bit like an art film / project. It's
one of those
it's not
films that
coherent,
we don't
and
really do.
even though you can rearrange it like that, and that does make sense. I still don't. This is not I didn't feel this was a coherent piece of work.
No, I agree.
Um,
It's one of those pretentious film school kind of arty films, isn't it, that nobody likes.
yeah, I just
It's bullshit.
Did not like
Let's
it.
just be honest with it. No, I
Did
didn't
not like it at all.
Just stay away from it. There's better films in this genre out there. If you want a film to get your mind racing and work, go and watch Mirage from season 2. That's better.
From season 1.
Season 1, sorry. That's better. Okay, do you want to move on to the trivia section?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, do you want to go first or shall I go first? I think it's my turn to go first.
Yeah, you go first this week.
Okay, so my question to you this week is, there is a scene in this film in the hotel section of the film
Yes.
where DJ Qualls and Rami Malek are having a discussion next to a snack machine about the Y2K bug and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
and DJ Qualls buys something from the snack machine.
Oh,
What does he buy from the snack machine?
that's a good question. I know what I think it is,
Okay.
but I'm not that confident. Is it Milk Duds?
No, but it was close. You're close. It was
Is
Junior Mints,
Ah,
which do come in a box like Milk Duds do. So it's still 2-1 to me.
damn it.
Now it's your question. For me to pull ahead.
So when Buster is pretending to be Bob
Yeah.
in the
Who's Bob?
when he's pretending to be Bob in the house,
Oh, yeah. When
the
cop
sheriff
up at the
comes
door.
around.
Yeah.
what's his full name? It said so. He talks about Mr. and Mrs.
Oh, no.
It's
was
mentioned about 4 times.
It was, yeah. It's
in
something
quick,
Jewish, isn't it?
quick succession. What's his full name?
I'm sure it's
Bob who?
I'm sure it's something Jewish. Don't know. No idea.
No,
Rostenkowski.
it's Bob Bowery.
Oh. Nowhere near. I would never have got that. We're not very observant, me and you.
No.
We've noticed in this. We're in episode 7 now, and you've got 1 and I've got 2.
Yes. That's one more than I thought I'd get.
True.
I'm quite happy.
Okay, so that brings us on to the stream table. Where were we putting this in the stream table? Do you want me to run through them?
Yeah, go on. Give us a recap.
So currently at number 1 is Hush from last week, horror film. Number 2 is What Keeps You Alive from episode 2, which is horror film-ish? Thriller.
I think
More of a thriller.
we said thriller. I think
Yeah.
we debated and we decided it wasn't quite a horror.
So number 3 is from episode 3, Handsome, a Netflix mystery movie. Number 4 is Michael Inside. Number 5 from episode 5 is Emo the Musical. And number 6 is The Clapper from episode 4. Where's this one going? There's a debate to be had,
Yeah.
and it is this film worse than The Clapper? Yeah?
Yes. So I think there's a couple of ways you could look at this.
Yeah.
Well,
This is going
Ross
bottom
Cook's
or
going to be
second
spinning in his grave. I know he's not dead, but he's probably just spinning.
I've not heard from him for a while. I like this one, Dad.
I hated this more than The Clapper.
Whoa. You hated The Clapper. We both hated The Clapper.
But this made me angry.
Yeah.
The Clapper didn't make me angry. It was just really shit.
It is really shit.
Properly bad.
Our debate is this the bottom of the stream or one up from the bottom of the stream? It's that, isn't it?
Which did you find was more of a waste of your time?
This.
That's, yeah.
Without even thinking about it, I really am disappointed that this is going to the bottom, but for me this is worse than The Clapper.
I know I had quite a bit of fun talking about The Clapper.
Yeah.
Which I know shouldn't really probably affect our judgment as a film.
No, but
But
it's fun to abuse things
I
sometimes.
really didn't like this. But I didn't have that much fun talking about it either.
I've had fun. I always have fun talking to you.
Yes, obviously. This felt like a real chore
Yeah,
to watch.
it's an hour and a half long, and it's an hour and a half too long.
It was
too much.
a real slog.
It was, and it doesn't make any sense. You can try and explain it to yourself as much as you want. It doesn't make any sense. This film's the bottom of the stream for me.
It's weird for the sake of
Being weird. Which is clearly what she's going for when that statement that she made as well.
Yeah.
She wanted it to be weird, so she's gone out intentionally and made a weird film.
And
Shit.
it's not interesting.
It's not fun, it's not interesting, it's not good. It's not well acted. You don't care when the characters die or disappear
It's not
or
even-
don't exist.
It doesn't even build any. There's no dread. There's no
No.
You know, it doesn't come across as ominous. There's no stuff. Just lurches from one thing to the other. Stuff just happens for no reason. I felt that the 3 timelines, whatever you want to call them, were tied together really tenuously, and I really didn't like it.
Bottom of the stream.
I can't believe
I can't believe the Clapper's been beaten already.
that the Clapper has been beaten already.
I'm really disappointed that it has, but we were owed one, to be fair. We've had a good season so far. We were owed a bad one, and that's a bad one.
Don't go and watch this film.
Please don't go and watch this film. There is much better films like this out there. Like Mirage, which is a nice twist at the end and that sort of film. Go and watch that. It came second in last season's stream
Yeah.
table. It was really good. I want to get more people who are watching to watch Mirage.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun. Bottom of the stream, where it belongs.
Boo.
Hopefully nothing beats it. But you never do know. With that being said, do you want to try and find out if we can beat it next week?
Yes, please. Hopefully we get a palate cleanser.
Yeah, something
Because this one tasted horrible.
Right, I'm going to press the button. Are you ready?
Yes.
It has picked a film called Office Uprising.
What's that?
I think this was also added to the list by Ross Cook.
Oh, really?
I think so. I think his films are coming out. Okay, let me find out what it says on IMDb and I will let you know. So, Office Uprising is from 2018, it's last year, described as an action comedy horror film.
Okay.
Do you want to know the synopsis?
Yes, please.
An employee at a weapons factory discovers that an energy drink turns his co-workers into zombies.
Oh, hello.
We've got a zombie film. Fucking love zombie films. Do you want to watch the trailer?
Yes.
Just so we're clear, my principles still hold. I'm not committing any acts of violence.
Dude, we're about to go into battle. Why'd you even put that on?
Everybody else was doing it. You know, I'm not really that comfy with the whole spearing part.
Now I'm holding spears. Zolt was designed for soldiers. Makes them alert, focused, productive. But this first batch... Wait. Oh my God! Shit went sideways. Sam?
That is why we do not send work emails with emoticons.
Do you think this piss-hand little bullet factory is my endgame?
I'm getting us out of here, okay?
What's your plan, huh?
Hey!
Hi, fellas.
Last opportunity to show some collaboration, Mr. Gantz!
Any violence is purely coincidental.
Which one of you wants a taste?
Wait, you two are gonna take them all on? That's great, we're all gonna die.
I like my steak well done, and that's how I like my coworkers.
Wow. What do you think?
I think that we couldn't get any more different from this week.
Certainly couldn't. That is a comedy zombie film. Love zombie films, hate comedy films. Going to be interesting. See which way it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Me too. I'm looking forward to that one. So, yeah, go and watch Office Uprising and we'll be back next week to talk about it.
Same time next week. Cheers.
Bye.